What a beautiful introduction to Helen Hamilton. One of the things I love about Helen is she lives in that awareness that there is only love. And she embodies it in everything I've ever seen her express, do, or say. So we are really blessed by her presence here today. And just to tell you a little bit about her, she's here visiting from the UK, and she's doing a retreat here at CCL, as most of you know, and she's just completed another retreat in Virginia. And she does live here part-time as well, and she loves being here. So we're very grateful for that. And the other thing I love about her is she's an exalted being who lives an ordinary life like you or I. She's a mother of 4, and everything that she teaches from her own direct experience, because she had a lot of life experiences, as you can imagine, being a mother and raising 4 children, and emotional challenges and the same kinds of challenges you and I have. And through that, she really had an intention that she's carried throughout her life to be awakened. And maybe she can tell you a little bit about what that means to her, because it's something that she was able to achieve, and because she could achieve it, she says we can all do that, and she's here to demonstrate that to us, because we can all live in a place where there's less suffering and actually no suffering in our life. So with that, I introduce you to Helen Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone here at CCL, everyone as part of the Zoom organization as well. Have you ever walked into a place you've never been before and felt completely at home? It felt like that on Friday, right, as we walked into the retreat center. And it's just been a continuation of that. And this morning as we walked in here, you know, every day my life challenges me to open my heart ever wider. And today was a huge challenge, because it was all this love just coming at me in a most beautiful way. And I feel so blessed and grateful to be here. And yeah, thank you. And thank you for the original invitation. Thank you. I was gonna stand while I give this talk, and then I decided to ask for a chair, because every now and again some nerves come up, like right now. The very first time I spoke in front of people, it was in front of 1,000 people, and it was at a training seminar. And I had this, you know, powerful business suit, you know, like the power suit. And when I put it on, I felt like Superwoman, you know. And I was standing with this microphone in my hand, and I was shaking so much. My knees were just like wobbling, you know. And it actually looked like I was dancing. People started dancing. They thought I was like encouraging them to dance. So I just went with it. But I thought I would sit today and just... Luckily, I'm never terrified anymore, just slightly nervous. And for me, that's always a reminder of the great privilege and honor to be here and to hopefully be able to offer some words that inspire and invite. So the whole theme of this weekend has been abiding in peace. And the name of this talk is Peace is Here and Now. I have a terrible memory. What's my name again? And I heard something this morning when I came in. I think it was Jane that said it, that who had heard it from someone else, that, and I'm probably going to paraphrase it badly, but a commitment is when making a commitment is just one less choice you have to make. And I thought that was so beautiful, because it kind of describes exactly what abiding in peace was for me. It was a decision, a commitment, a turning towards, an opening and inviting, a surrender. I never knew what that word meant, surrender. And I tried, when I thought I was a person, I tried so hard to surrender. I could surrender anything. I was an Olympic gold medalist at surrendering, but it would always come right back, right? Like on an elastic thing. And there was no end of things to surrender like that, right? Have you noticed? You never get to the end of it. So, right about my darkest time, I found myself, which wasn't an unusual experience, but on my knees in my bedroom. And at the time I had a whole lot of either photographs or drawings of all the great teachers that have inspired me. So there's Christ and Buddha and Shiva and modern day teachers like Muji and Adyashanti and everything in between, and Ramana and and I found myself just gazing at the picture of Christ that I had. It was a painting, and in the painting you had this very enlarged red heart, like really noticeable. And I really understood for that moment, maybe just the first time, what surrender actually was, and it was just, please help me, help me. I can't do this anymore. If you don't help me, or if I don't learn how to receive the help, which is probably way more true. Just imagine God going, there she goes again. You know? I just couldn't take it anymore. I was in the middle of a depression, and I had 3 children at the time, and it was probably the worst moment of my life, if I'm honest. And I just felt drawn to look at this picture. It wasn't like a massive spiritual moment, but the heart of Christ just seemed to leap out of the picture. And something happened in that moment that I will never forget. I don't know what happened, and I don't really need to know, but I do know some shift happened, began to happen at least, from trying to get somewhere, trying to get to some future moment where I would find peace and stability and all of that, to just not knowing any way forward at all. I had reached that point many times before, right? The end of the road. No more strategies, no more plans. A recognition that even if I did have plans, it just would not work. And a total willingness, even just for a moment, to just let go of any ideas of what I thought I should be doing or how to to solve the problems I thought I had. Something began to open in my heart. And I'd heard about these great teachers had this kind of experience. I thought, what a load of rubbish, you know. I'm going to keep reading my scriptures. But something started to happen, and it wasn't big, it was just tiny, and it was in the background, but it began. It began in that moment. Or maybe it began a long time ago, but maybe I noticed it then. And about a week later, I was lucky enough to spend some time with Adyashanti. And he said something that changed my entire existence. He said that peace is here and now. Of course, I'm sitting there and amongst 300 people, and I'm like, no, it's not. you know, I'm trying to look all spiritual, like, mm-hmm. And I'm looking at everyone else down the row going, are they getting this or am I missing out? And it looked like he looked directly at me, right? I mean, he was looking around the room, 300 people, but it was just for a second looked like he was looking really at me, like right at me. He said, peace is here and now. Maybe I was just ready, maybe I was more open, and maybe because of this previous moment the week before, there was just something like, I'm never gonna find it by moving forward towards some future moment, right? I'm never gonna get there that way. And I'm sure we've all tried. And again, this deepening of understanding of what surrender is, what surrender means. And I'm such a word nerd, I love words. I went and Googled what surrender meant and the etymology of it. And it comes originally from a word that means to give back. Not to give, but to give back. Something that was never ours. To give something back. So of course I set about, what do I want to give back? Well, everything. Everything, take it. And in that, we were there for an hour and a half with my husband and with this event with Ajishanti, and I just spent the whole time crying. And not that, you know, not that beautiful spiritual crying where you can just dab your, you know, it was like just everything my body could do. And then we left the talk and walked around London to get something to eat because it was down in London. And I was still crying. And we walked into the store to get some drinks. I was still crying. We walked up to pay. I was just sobbing, right, for about 3 or 4 hours. I didn't care, right? I was getting some very strange looks from people. I just didn't care at that point. And something changed in me. A recognition that maybe I've never really dived deeply enough into this moment, that maybe peace is here right now. And I began to understand the power of an assumption, a belief that if I really feel it's not here, I will miss it every single time. Because my experience certainly wasn't peaceful. I was feeling all kinds of fear and shame. Felt like I didn't deserve to exist. I was embarrassed even to want to awaken. Thought, you know, who am I to even try? But something wouldn't let it go inside. Couldn't let it go. I didn't even know what awakening meant. I just heard it was a good idea, you know. Any port in a storm, right? So something started in this surrender, this momentum of seeking something that wasn't here, apparently, in some future moment. It just began to turn inwards. What if I stop trying to get towards some place or time that doesn't really exist and see what's here right now? And it was just like this turning. And it's still ongoing today, this diving deeper into this moment with a recognition that I can't ever get to the end of what's available in and as this moment. There's a wellspring of peace that only multiplies as you access it, right? The better it gets, the better it gets. And maybe I've tried to look at this 100 different ways, but maybe what changed for me on those 2 occasions was a willingness to admit that I might already deserve this. Not actually admitting it, because I wasn't ready. But again, Adyashanti said something. He said, this love, this peace, it doesn't care if you feel ready. It loves you anyway. It's not separate, but so there's this beautiful turning inwards, and that's what I'd like to invite you each to feel with me now and hear this. What actually is here now? Have we just dived in to what is here and now? Because it'd be easy to just say, I'm sitting here on this chair talking to you all and we had a wonderful time. But just diving deeper into, opening up to what might be here that is not always obvious. And what I found when I started to turn inside, whatever that means for each of us is different, but surrendering the search for something that I don't think is here and being willing to have been wrong about that. What if it had been here forever? Always. So close that I've missed it every moment. Hidden in plain sight. Everywhere. This peace of God, of the divine essence, consciousness, presence, whatever you want to call it, love. And I discovered that I'd been utterly wrong and there was no qualification needed at all for this. I mean, he didn't even need to be breathing, just, just being this. And everything changed then. Everything began to change. Slowly at first. And there was still a choice, an option to keep seeking. But it became just an old habit rather than a way of being. That I dipped into this old habit every now and again. Well, you know what it's like to wake up every day feeling more loved, more safe, more valued, to have more joy, peace, deep and abiding love that loves you so completely that you just cannot survive and come through with any kind of insecurity or doubts about yourself, self-hatred, shame, anything like that. So I'd like to invite you to open your heart to that, whatever that means for you. And if you've done that, then do it again. Do it deeper, do it fuller, do it richer. It really is infinite, and that means for the rest of forever, physical body or no body, there is more for you to experience of this moment. It truly is endless. Thank you, thank you. And that love will find its way with you whether you resist it or not, whether you think you're worthy or not, whether you feel ready or not, whether you know what to do with it or not. There was no way I would ever have sat in a chair like this and spoken like this. And despite my best resistance, love decided that this is what I ought to do with my life. I finally figured out how to get with the program, work with it. And I wish the same for all of you. And you've obviously got a good start on it being here in this beautiful event. Maybe I'm just playing catch up here, what everyone else already knows. Because every moment that you open your heart deeper, you feel better, and so does everyone else around you. And this awakening, instead of making me special or have superpowers, that kind of thing like I thought it would. Or they might be on the way, who knows. It became deliciously ordinary. Ordinary. an ability to just like myself and be here and not be terrified of life anymore. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for inviting me and welcoming me so deeply into your hearts. And I hope that you do the same for yourself. I hope you would treat yourself the same way you would treat me. Have treat me. Treated? Treat? Thank you so much. Thank you.